The Story of Dubai. Chapter 1. The Sands Before Time. Prehistoric Beginnings and Early Human Settlement in the Region. Long before glass towers and superhighways, long before the gleam of gold and the roar of engines, Dubai was a place of quiet endurance. The story begins over 7,000 years ago, in the harsh, yet resilient environment of the southeastern Arabian Peninsula. What is now the United Arab Emirates was once home to nomadic tribes who wandered the arid landscape, drawn by the promise of fresh water and fertile oases. Evidence from archaeological sites in nearby areas such as Suruq al-Hadid and Jumeirah reveals that people in the Dubai region were part of Bronze and Iron Age civilizations, engaging in early metallurgy, pottery, and even trade. They moved with the rhythms of the desert, hunting, herding animals, and gathering whatever the land could provide. The coast, though barren, gave them fish and salt, and the inland dunes held stories of survival. Life was not easy, but it was rich in culture and tradition. These early people worshipped nature, crafted tools from stone and copper, and built modest shelters against the shifting sands. They lived in harmony with a land that demanded respect. Though history records them in whispers, scattered pottery, bones, and tools, their legacy formed the very foundation upon which Dubai would rise. Chapter 2. Pearls of the Gulf. The rise of the pearling industry and maritime trade. By the 18th and 19th centuries, Dubai had grown from a scattering of tribal camps to a modest coastal village, centered around the shimmering waters of the Arabian Gulf. Here, the sea was life. It brought fish, it brought trade, but most importantly, it brought pearls. Pearling had become the economic lifeblood of the region. Men would set out on long voyages in wooden dhows, diving deep into the water with nothing but a nose clip and a stone weight. The work was dangerous, and grueling divers could spend hours each day submerged, risking their lives in search of tiny treasures. Yet, the promise of a single perfect pearl could transform a life. Dubai, like many Gulf towns, became a hub for this trade. Its leaders recognized the value of openness, allowing merchants and sailors from India, Persia, and East Africa to settle, trade, and flourish. Souk markets buzzed with activity, where pearl merchants bartered for silk, spices, and gold. Though the wealth never rivaled the great empires of the time, Dubai's strategic location and friendly trade policies allowed it to grow steadily. The people of Dubai were known for their seafaring skills, their resilience, and their willingness to embrace outsiders. The pearling economy would eventually decline in the early 20th century due to the development of cultured pearls and global economic shifts, but the legacy of that era remained a spirit of enterprise, risk-taking, and openness to the world. Chapter 3. A creek divides and unites. The importance of Dubai Creek in trade, fishing, and community growth. At the heart of Old Dubai lies Dubai Creek, Khor Dubai, the natural inlet of seawater that stretches inland from the Gulf like an open hand. It was here that the early settlement truly took root, for the creek was not just a body of water, it was a lifeline. On its banks, wooden dhows bobbed gently with the tides, unloading cargo from distant lands. Spices from India, textiles from Persia, dates from Oman all passed through the creek. It divided the settlement into two main areas, Dera on the eastern side and Bur Dubai on the western bank. But while it physically separated the people, the creek also connected them. Ferries abroad boats carried families, traders, and goods across its waters, forging a sense of unity and shared purpose. Sheikh Maktoum bin Hashir al Maktoum, one of the early visionary rulers, understood the creek's potential. In the early 20th century, he declared Dubai a free port, removing taxes and encouraging merchants from nearby regions to relocate. Many did, drawn by the promise of prosperity and fair governance. Indian, Iranian, and Arab traders arrived, building homes, shops, and communities along the water's edge. The creek was deepened and widened over the decades to allow larger vessels to enter, further cementing Dubai's reputation as a trading hub. Along its shores rose bustling souks like the Gold Souk and the Spice Souk, each echoing with the calls of traders and the scent of exotic wares. Dubai Creek wasn't just a geographic feature. It was the cradle of a city's identity, its artery of commerce, its symbol of diversity, and its first step toward global prominence. Chapter 4: Tribal Alliances and the Founding of Al Maktoum Rule. The formation of Dubai under the Bani Yas tribe and the arrival of the Al Maktoum family in 1833. By the early 19th century, the Arabian Peninsula was a patchwork of tribal territories, each governed by strong kinship bonds, deep loyalties, and long-standing rivalries. In this turbulent era, power was earned not only through warfare but also through diplomacy, trade, and leadership. Among the most powerful tribal confederations in the region was the Bani Yas, based in Abu Dhabi. From within this tribe emerged a family whose name would one day become synonymous with Dubai's transformation, Al Maktoum. In 1833, a pivotal event changed Dubai's fate forever. Sheikh Maktoum bin Beauty, a respected leader within the Al Bufalasa section of the Bani Yas tribe, led around 800 followers north from Abu Dhabi in a daring breakaway. Their destination, a small but strategically positioned fishing and trading settlement along the coast of Dubai. The reasons for this migration were both political and economic. Tensions within Abu Dhabi's ruling elite had grown, and Dubai, with its natural creek and opportunities for trade, offered a new beginning. On December 8, 1833, the Al Maktoum family arrived and peacefully took control of Dubai, establishing it as an independent sheikhdom under their rule. Sheikh Maktoum bin Beauty became the first ruler of Dubai, and the Maktoum dynasty began a rule that continues unbroken to this day. From the outset, the Al Maktoums governed with a sense of pragmatism and openness. They welcomed traders, fostered alliances with neighboring tribes, and prioritized economic growth over territorial conquest. This early vision laid the groundwork for what Dubai would eventually become: a stable, thriving port city in a region often marked by strife. Chapter 5: Empire and Agreement, British Protection Era. The Trucial States Treaties and Dubai's relationship with the British Empire. As maritime trade expanded across the Gulf in the 19th century, the British Empire, which controlled India and other territories, took increasing interest in securing the sea routes that connected its eastern colonies to the wider world. The waters of the Gulf had become known as the Pirate Coast to the British, largely due to ongoing skirmishes and raids among tribal fleets. In response, Britain began negotiating a series of maritime truces with the coastal sheikdoms, including Dubai, to ensure peace and protect British shipping interests. In 1853, the Perpetual Maritime Truce was signed between the British and several Gulf rulers, including the Al Maktoum leadership in Dubai. This agreement marked the beginning of the Trucial States era. Under its terms, the local sheikdoms agreed to cease hostilities at sea and allow the British to mediate intertribal disputes. In return, they received British protection from foreign aggression. Although the British did not formally colonize Dubai, the agreement gave them significant influence over the region's foreign affairs and security. For Dubai, however, the relationship proved beneficial. With piracy largely eradicated and trade routes secured, commerce flourished. British presence also brought a level of international legitimacy to the small Gulf sheikdoms, which attracted more traders and investors. Throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Dubai remained a loyal partner to the British, while continuing to foster its own economic identity. The Al Maktoum rulers adeptly balanced cooperation with the British while retaining internal autonomy, a strategy that ensured both stability and progress. Chapter 6: Trade Winds and Open Ports. Dubai's economic vision under Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed, and the declaration of free trade policies. By the mid-20th century, Dubai stood at a crossroads. The once lucrative pearling industry had collapsed and done by the Great Depression and the invention of cultured pearls in Japan. Yet even as traditional sources of wealth vanished, Dubai's rulers looked forward. At the center of this new vision was Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum, who became ruler of Dubai in 1958. Sheikh Rashid understood that Dubai's survival depended on diversification and bold investment. He saw Dubai not as a sleepy town in the desert, but as a future hub for international trade and logistics. One of his first major moves was to modernize and deepen Dubai Creek in the 1960s, allowing larger ships to dock and offload cargo directly into the heart of the city. This project, though costly, was transformative. It brought in more merchants, increased trade volume, and laid the foundation for a logistics economy. But perhaps Sheikh Rashid's most revolutionary decision was to establish free trade zones and implement zero taxation on trade. These policies set Dubai apart from its neighbors. Merchants from Iran, India, Africa, and beyond flooded in, bringing with them wealth, goods, and connections. Dubai began to brand itself as open to the world. Infrastructure projects followed: airports, roads, ports, and communication systems. When oil was discovered in small quantities in the late 1960s, Sheikh Rashid wisely chose to reinvest the oil revenue into non-oil sectors, a strategy that proved visionary in the decades that followed. By the time Dubai became a founding member of the United Arab Emirates in 1971, it had already positioned itself as a leader in trade and economic innovation. The trade winds had shifted, and Dubai was sailing confidently into a new era, one built not just on oil, but on ambition, foresight, and openness to the world. Chapter 7: Oil and Opportunity. The discovery of oil in the 1960s and the transformation it sparked. For centuries, the people of Dubai had looked to the sea for their livelihood. But beneath the sands and waters of the Arabian Peninsula lay a hidden treasure that would redefine the region. Oil. In the early 1960s, after years of exploration by foreign companies, Dubai finally struck black gold. The Fateh oil field, located offshore in the Arabian Gulf, began production in 1969, forever changing the course of the Emirates' history. Though not as rich in oil reserves as neighboring Abu Dhabi, Dubai's discovery came at a critical time, just as the traditional economy, once centered on pearling and small-scale trade, was in decline. Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum, always the visionary, saw oil not as a permanent solution but as a powerful stepping stone. He used the revenue from oil exports not to build personal palaces, but to invest in infrastructure, education, healthcare, and commerce. Roads were paved where there had been only dirt tracks. Modern schools and hospitals were built where once there were tents and small clinics. Ports, airports, and bridges began to take shape, connecting Dubai not only internally but with the world. All provided the initial spark, but it was Dubai's leadership that turned this spark into a lasting flame. Sheikh Rashid understood that oil would one day run out, and so, unlike many other resource-rich regions, he focused relentlessly on economic diversification. Dubai would not be an oil state, it would be a global trade hub, a tourism destination, and a business capital. Thus, the oil era in Dubai was short-lived in its dominance but enormous in its impact. It gave the emirate the capital, the confidence, and the infrastructure to pursue ambitions that once seemed unimaginable. Chapter 8: From Sand to Skyline. Rapid modernization and infrastructure development in the 1970s and 1980s. In the span of a single generation, Dubai underwent a transformation so dramatic that it became one of the most remarkable stories of urban development in modern history. What had once been a dusty town of wind towers and wooden boats became, by the 1970s and 1980s, a thriving city with modern architecture, bustling streets, and a skyline that began to pierce the desert sky. This transformation did not happen by accident. It was the result of deliberate planning, visionary leadership, and relentless investment. One of Sheikh Rashid's first major infrastructure projects was the construction of Port Rashid in 1972, followed by the massive Jebel Ali port in 1979, today one of the largest man-made harbors in the world. These ports turned Dubai into a central shipping and logistics hub, connecting east and west with unmatched efficiency. The Dubai International Airport, first opened in 1960 as a modest airstrip, was rapidly expanded into a major international hub, foreshadowing the city's future dominance in global aviation. Roads and bridges crisscrossed the city, while new districts rose from the sand, planned with modern zoning and utilities. Perhaps most remarkably, Sheikh Rashid and his son, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, saw the potential of tourism and luxury living long before others. Hotels, beach resorts, golf courses, and shopping centers began to appear, attracting not just business travelers but holidaymakers from around the world. In just 2 decades, Dubai went from a sleepy coastal town to a modern metropolis. The skyline began to feature sleek office towers and glass buildings, a prelude to the architectural marvels that were yet to come. But more than the physical structures, it was the spirit of ambition, openness, and innovation that defined this era's city, determined to make the impossible possible. Chapter 9: The Birth of the UAE. The unification of the Emirates in 1971 and Dubai's role in shaping the federation. As the 20th century drew to a close, the political winds in the Gulf were shifting. The British, who had long maintained influence over the Trucial states, announced their intention to withdraw from the region by 1971. This departure posed a serious question: what would happen to the small, independent Emirates once British protection ended? In a remarkable act of diplomacy and foresight, the leaders of the Emirates, particularly Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan of Abu Dhabi and Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum of Dubai, initiated discussions about uniting their territories. Despite differences in wealth, geography, and tribal affiliations, they shared a common vision: strength through unity. After months of negotiations and planning, on December 2, 1971, the United Arab Emirates was officially formed. Initially, 6 Emirates: Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quwain, and Fujairah joined the federation, with Ras Al Khaimah joining shortly afterward in 1972. Dubai played a critical role in this unification. As the second largest emirate and a key economic center, it brought not only financial power but also a model of development and trade. Sheikh Rashid's partnership with Sheikh Zayed laid the foundation for a federal system where each emirate retained a degree of autonomy while contributing to national goals. Dubai continued to pursue its own path of economic growth, but always within the broader framework of the UAE. It contributed to the development of national institutions, infrastructure, and policy while continuing to attract foreign investment and tourism. The formation of the UAE provided Dubai with political stability, a national identity, and a regional voice. It was now no longer just a successful city, it was part of a united country, standing tall on the world stage. Chapter 10: Dreams in Glass and Steel. The construction of iconic landmarks like Burj Al Arab and Burj Khalifa. By the late 1990s, Dubai's ambition had taken physical form, rising not just in trade figures and airport statistics, but in the very skyline that began to redefine what a city in the desert could look like. The emirate was no longer satisfied with being just a regional hub. It was aiming to be an international icon, and nothing embodied this dream more than its architecture. In 1999, Dubai stunned the world with the opening of the Burj Al Arab, a seven-star hotel shaped like the sail of a dhow, rising out of the sea on an artificial island. It wasn't just a hotel, it was a statement. A symbol of luxury, modernity, and vision. It told the world that Dubai was here to compete with the best. But the boldest architectural dream was yet to come. In 2010, after 6 years of construction, Burj Khalifa was inaugurated. At 828 meters, it became the tallest building in the world, dwarfing every other skyscraper on the planet. Named after Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan in gratitude for Abu Dhabi's financial support during the 2008 crisis, the Burj Khalifa was more than a feat of engineering, it was a beacon of resilience and human achievement. These landmarks, along with Palm Jumeirah, Dubai Marina, and the Dubai Mall, were part of a strategic vision to make Dubai a destination city, a place synonymous with record-breaking grandeur, luxury, and innovation. The city began to attract celebrities, entrepreneurs, tourists, and media attention. Its brand was clear, bold, modern, and global. But behind the shimmering facades, Dubai was also laying deeper foundations, building systems of infrastructure, free zones, education hubs, and cultural institutions to ensure that its dreams in glass and steel would be more than just spectacle. They would support a thriving, diversified society. Chapter 11: Global Ambitions, Global Challenges. Dubai's rise as a financial, tourism, and aviation hub, and the challenges of the 2008 financial crisis. As the 21st century progressed, Dubai reached unprecedented heights, quite literally and economically. The emirate became a top destination for international tourism, hosting millions of visitors annually. The aviation industry, led by Emirates Airline, positioned Dubai as a crossroads between East and West, turning its airport into one of the busiest in the world. Dubai also emerged as a financial and business powerhouse, launching the Dubai International Financial Center (DIFC) and attracting global firms to set up regional headquarters. Real estate, hospitality, trade, and logistics flourished, driven by liberal business policies and low taxation. But with rapid growth came vulnerability. In 2008, the global financial crisis sent shockwaves through Dubai's economy. A real estate bubble, inflated by speculation and massive development, burst. Projects were halted, property prices crashed, and investors fled. Dubai faced billions in debt, and international headlines questioned whether its model of rapid, debt-fueled expansion had been sustainable. Yet, in one of the most defining moments of the Emirates' modern history, Dubai demonstrated resilience. It received a $10 billion bailout from Abu Dhabi and quickly took action, restructuring debt, consolidating government-linked entities, and reprioritizing sustainable growth over unchecked expansion. The crisis was a sobering lesson but also a turning point. Dubai emerged more cautious, but also more mature. It continued to innovate and invest, especially in tourism, aviation, renewable energy, and digital transformation, proving that setbacks could be springboards for smarter strategies. Chapter 12: Expo 2020 and the Future Forward. Hosting a world event amid a pandemic and the vision for Dubai's next chapter. When Dubai won the bid to host Expo 2020 in 2013, it was more than just a victory, it was a bold affirmation of the city's place on the world stage. Under the theme Connecting Minds, Creating the Future, the event was envisioned as a platform to showcase innovation, culture, and cooperation across borders. Infrastructure development began immediately. The expo site, covering 4.38 square kilometers in the south of Dubai, was designed to be a sustainable, smart city of the future. Pavilions were built for over 190 countries, each one telling a unique story of progress and partnership. But as the opening neared, the COVID-19 pandemic struck the world. In an unprecedented global health crisis, Dubai made the difficult decision to postpone Expo 2020 to 2021. Even so, the city didn't pause. It adapted. Health protocols, digital systems, and safety infrastructure were rapidly implemented. When the expo finally opened in October 2021, it became one of the first major international events held safely during the pandemic era. The expo was a triumph not only of organization and architecture but of human resilience and hope. It attracted over 24 million visits and served as a global showcase for Dubai's capacity to lead, adapt, and inspire. The legacy of Expo 2020 lives on in District 2020, a smart city being developed on the Expo site, focused on innovation, tech, and sustainability. It represents Dubai's commitment to a future that balances growth with responsibility and ambition with inclusion. Chapter 13: A City of the World. Dubai Today: Multiculturalism, Innovation, Sustainability, and Global Influence. Today, Dubai stands as one of the most globalized cities on Earth, with over 200 nationalities living and working together. It is a mosaic of cultures, languages, and lifestyles. In a region often known for conservatism, Dubai offers a model of tolerance, coexistence, and cosmopolitanism. Innovation drives everything. Dubai leads the Middle East in artificial intelligence, blockchain, green technology, and smart city infrastructure. Initiatives like Dubai Future Foundation, Dubai Internet City, and Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050 reflect a city not content with past success but focused on leading the next era of human progress. Culturally, Dubai has invested in museums, arts, and heritage. Institutions like the Museum of the Future, Dubai Opera, and Al Circle Avenue have established the city as a regional center for art and creativity. At the same time, it maintains deep respect for its traditions evident in its mosques, souk, dessert retreats, and festivals. Sustainability is now at the heart of policy. Dubai aims to become carbon neutral by 2050, with solar parks, EV incentives, and green architecture leading the way. Yet for all its achievements, perhaps Dubai's most enduring legacy is its spirit, a city that began as a humble trading port and became a symbol of what vision, openness, and relentless drive can accomplish. Dubai is no longer just a city in the UAE. It is a city of the world, shaped by the world and shaping the world in return.